Thompson Motor Speedway, August 15th, 2026. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're at Thompson Motor Speedway for the SCCA New England Region Midnight Madness event. This is definitely one of the events we've been looking forward to. Aaden is running in Group 8, and it's going to be a long day, and an even longer night. Our first session is qualifying at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we have a sprint race at about 5:30. And finally, the main event of Midnight Madness, racing under the lights at approximately 11 o'clock at night. For Aaden, coming back to Thompson is pretty special. This is the same track where he participated in his racing school and really started taking some of his first steps into racing a full-size car. Now he's coming back with more experience, more confidence, and a much better understanding of what the car is doing underneath him. We're still very early in this process. Every weekend right now is about learning. Learning the car, learning the tracks, learning racecraft, and probably most importantly, learning how to recognize where time is being left on the table. Aaden still has plenty to learn, but every time he gets in the car, we're seeing progress. He's becoming more comfortable pushing the car, carrying speed into the corners, and trusting what the Miata is capable of. And the lap times are steadily coming down. First up is qualifying. At this point in the day, the goal isn't necessarily to go out there and set some unbelievable lap time. We're really trying to give Aaden some time to settle back into Thompson and get comfortable again. One of the biggest differences between kart racing and racing a car like this is just how much there is to process. You're thinking about braking points, turn-in, weight transfer, throttle application, gear selection, mirrors, traffic, flags, all while trying to put together a fast lap. And every corner affects the next one. If you miss an apex by a couple of feet, or get on the throttle a little too late, it might not just hurt that corner. It can affect your speed all the way down the next straight. That's one of the things Aaden is starting to understand more and more. Instead of just attacking every corner individually, he's starting to put the entire lap together. We're also trying not to rush the learning process. It's really easy to look at another driver's lap time and immediately want to find those seconds. But there's no single magic place where all that time is hiding. It's usually 1/10 here, 2/10 there, braking a little later, getting back to throttle a little earlier, carrying another mile per hour through the center of the corner. And eventually, all of those little improvements start adding up. That's really what we're looking for right now. Progress. One thing that's interesting about an event like Midnight Madness is the schedule. We qualified at about 1 in the afternoon, but our sprint race wasn't until around 5:30. So there's quite a bit of downtime between sessions. And that's actually useful for us right now because it gives us an opportunity to talk through what Aaden felt in the car. We'll look at what went well, what didn't feel quite right, and where he thinks he can improve. Sometimes what you think is happening from outside the car is completely different from what the driver is experiencing inside it. That's why that communication between driver and crew is so important. For us, these early races are as much about building that communication as they are about finishing position. Aaden needs to be able to tell me what the car is doing, and I need to be able to translate that information into something we can actually adjust or work on. And we're both getting better at that every weekend. Sprint race, 5:30 p.m. Now we're heading out for the sprint race. This is where Aaden gets another opportunity to work in traffic and start putting some of the things he learned during qualifying into practice. Running laps by yourself is one thing. Racing around other cars is completely different. Now, your ideal line might not be available. Your braking point might change because there's another car directly in front of you. You might have someone filling your mirrors going into a braking zone. And you have to start thinking ahead instead of just reacting to what's happening directly in front of you. That's racecraft, and there really isn't a substitute for seat time when it comes to learning it. Every lap Aaden completes right now is valuable. That's something we try to remind ourselves of. Of course, we want to be competitive. We're racers. That's always going to be the goal. But we're also trying to keep some perspective. Aaden is transitioning from years of kart racing into a completely different type of race car. The fundamentals carry over, but a Miata behaves very differently from a kart. There's suspension movement. There's significantly more weight. There's more momentum. There's shifting. There's a clutch. And mistakes tend to take longer to recover from. That's why we're concentrating on building a solid foundation instead of trying to skip steps. After the sprint race, there's another long break. And now the entire atmosphere at Thompson starts to change. The sun goes down. The temperature starts dropping. The lights around the track come on. And suddenly, the same track you've been driving all afternoon doesn't look quite the same anymore. This is the part of the event we've really been waiting for. Midnight Madness. A race starting at around 11 o'clock at night. For a young driver who is still gaining experience in the car, racing at night adds another challenge. Your reference points look different. Depth perception can feel different. You're relying much more on headlights, track lighting, and whatever visual markers you were able to memorize earlier in the day. But Aaden was excited for it. And by this point, he'd already had qualifying and the sprint race to get comfortable. Now it was time to go racing under the lights. Right from the beginning, Aaden looked much more comfortable in the car, and that's probably one of the biggest things we've noticed lately. Every time he goes out, that confidence level seems to increase. He's starting to trust the car more. He's starting to trust himself more. And instead of simply reacting to the car, he's beginning to anticipate what it's going to do. That's a huge part of becoming a faster driver. Watching the footage back, there are still areas we can work on. There are places where he can carry more speed. There are braking zones where there's still some room to push. And there are corners where getting back to throttle just a little sooner will make a difference. But those are good problems to have, because those are things that come with experience. What we're seeing now is a driver who is steadily getting more comfortable and more consistent. And that's exactly what we want. Unfortunately, toward the end of the night race, we started having a problem. The clutch began slipping. At first, it wasn't necessarily dramatic, but as the race went on, it became more noticeable. Aaden would get on the throttle, and the engine RPM would climb, but the car wasn't accelerating the way it should. That's not exactly what you want to discover in the middle of a race, especially at 11 o'clock at night. At that point, there really wasn't anything we could do from pit lane. It was up to Aaden to manage it. The important thing was that the car was still moving. The clutch hadn't completely failed, and he was able to keep going. So instead of giving up, he adjusted. He kept driving. He tried to manage the problem as best he could and continued clicking off laps. And honestly, this is part of racing too. Not every race ends because of a crash or some huge dramatic mechanical failure. Sometimes a component slowly starts going away, and the driver has to figure out how to get the car to the finish. That's exactly what Aaden did. Even with the clutch slipping, he was able to hang on and complete the entire race. For us, finishing was a win. Not because of where we finished on the timing sheet, but because Aaden gained more experience dealing with something going wrong mechanically, while still staying focused and bringing the car home. That's something you can't really teach in the shop. You have to experience it. Obviously, the clutch issue means we've got some work to do before the next event. That's racing. You race the car, figure out what broke or wore out, take it home, fix it, improve it, and come back again. But looking at the weekend as a whole, we're happy with the progress. Aaden got more seat time. He got more experience racing around other cars. He raced Thompson during the day and at night. His confidence continued to improve. And once again, his lap times continued moving in the right direction. There's still a long way to go, and we know that. But that's also what makes this fun. We're not expecting to figure everything out in one weekend. We're trying to get a little better every single time the car goes on track. If we can keep doing that, the speed will come. Next up for us is Palmer Motorsports Park on September 12th and 13th. That will bring another track, another challenge, and another opportunity for Aaden to keep building experience. Between now and then, we'll get the Miata back in the shop, address the clutch problem, go through the car, and make sure we're ready for the next race weekend. We're looking forward to seeing what Aaden can do at Palmer and continuing this journey. It's been really cool watching the progression from kart racing to racing school to actually competing in the Miata. There are going to be good weekends, There are going to be frustrating weekends. There are going to be mechanical problems. And there are probably going to be a few mistakes along the way. But that's racing. And right now, we're enjoying the process. Thanks for coming along with us for SCCA New England Region Midnight Madness at Thompson Motor Speedway. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you follow along because there's a lot more racing coming. Next stop, Palmer Motorsports Park. We'll see you at the track.